So I've got here an example of a pilar cyst of skin, which is one of the very common types of skin specimens that we receive. One of two common types of epidermal cysts, the other being the epidermoid cyst. And here on the low power appearance, we've got a little piece of skin here that was taken off the surface, and then these three pieces here, which represent the pilar cyst. And if we go a little bit closer, you can see one of the clues to this being a pilar cyst is the nature of the keratin filling the cyst, which typically forms this very thick, compacted mass of very brightly eosinophilic keratin. And here you can see it's calcified in areas, which is also very common. And if we take a closer look at the lining of the cyst, this is what we expect to see lining a pilar cyst. So benign, bland-looking squamous epithelium showing pilar features. So it's very abundant, very pale staining pink cytoplasm. And typically the keratinization occurs very abruptly between the squamous epithelium and the keratin filling the cyst, as we can see here. So fairly typical of a pilar cyst. The other thing that this cyst shows quite nicely and is quite commonly seen in pilar cysts is when the wall of the cyst splits. And you can see that demonstrated very nicely here. And interestingly, when the cyst wall splits like this, it almost always splits in such a way that the basal layer of the epithelium lining the cyst tends to remain attached to the underlying fibrous capsule of the cyst, which you can see here. And one little pitfall of this is that when strips of this split cyst wall drop off, you can see an appearance rather like we're seeing here, fragments of tissue where you get what looks like a single cell, rather columnar looking epithelial lining with an underlying fibrous wall. And this can very closely mimic a hydrocystoma of skin. And certainly I've seen cases where people have mistaken this for a separate or coexisting hydrocystoma of skin, when in fact it just merely represents the split outer wall of a pilar cyst. So just something to bear in mind, something that you often see in association with a pilar cyst, and not to be confused with a hydrocystoma. So this was a nice example of a pilar cyst of skin showing some calcification and splitting of the cyst wall.